Welcome to the Horror Corner.
Hello. Welcome.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Our toilet's not working, but that's
Oh.
typical day in this apartment, honestly.
Oh no. Okay. I don't know if this is a weird question, but
Uh-huh.
where do you use the bathroom if your toilet is clogged, or
That's a great question.
do you have to go
It's
across
not
the street
clogged,
to a
luckily.
subway or?
The flapper thing doesn't open when you press the handle down. So basically, we just have to take the cover off right now and just pull it up manually.
Ew.
It's not touching the water, so it's fine.
Okay.
And I wash my hands,
Okay.
as you should do after you use the bathroom, anyways. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess you can still pee in it, so that's good.
yeah, currently not a crisis.
Okay. Inconvenient.
But yeah, I mean, our bathroom sink's been leaking basically the entire time we've been here,
Oh my God.
for a year now, and we've called the guy to fix it, and he said he fixed it, and it was fine for 2 days, and then it started dripping again. So we're like, well, it's not our water bill.
That's tragic.
And our kitchen sink regularly upchucks on us.
Upchucks?
So, it gets backed up because we're at the bottom of the building.
Ew.
So everything comes down and gets stuck in the loop right by us. So when it gets clogged and stuff, it upchucks out of the sink.
That is
And
disgusting.
whenever anybody uses the sink above us, it just makes it worse. It floods our kitchen.
Ew. I'm so sorry.
This apartment has been deep cleaned so many times because after it happens, I just have to clean everything because it's got over the carpets, it got over the bathroom, the tub and stuff where we bail this kitchen sink essentially.
Uh-huh.
I love this apartment so much, and I cannot I can't bring myself to leave because of these things. So
Uh-huh.
we're still here a year later, 3 sink floods later,
Oh my God.
and now a broken toilet, which I feel like I can fix myself, honestly.
Uh-huh.
I'm such a dad that I want to be able to fix it
Yeah.
if it's just the flap that's broken.
Yeah.
If I have to replace the flap, I probably can't do that myself because that's a building thing.
Yeah.
But if it's just I need to adjust the chain on the thing, I'll probably try to do it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I really want to do it, but
Yeah.
if I think I have to replace something, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to call the people.
Yeah. I have faith in you. It's gonna be great. You're gonna dad it up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, so yesterday was Halloween.
Indeed.
And that was very exciting. Well, yesterday from the day that we're recording, when it goes out on Monday, it would be. Well, people know when Halloween is. I don't think I have to explain it. But yeah, it was fun. I'm sick again, thanks to Hollis, probably.
Oh no.
I went to their Rocky Horror Picture Show, and they breathed.
Oh, how was that?
It was really good. They were such a good riffraff. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But they breathed on me, and they were very sick. And then I went over to do adult substances and watch horror movies yesterday, and now I'm sick. And I don't think it's a coincidence, but still, it was fun. Yeah.
Was it worth it? That's the real question.
It was definitely worth it. Yeah. There was this really creepy cis man in the audience who I had to yell at because he was so gross. He was just making all these comments about the people on stage, you don't even look like you've had sex, and just all this really weird stuff. But I yelled at him, and then I moved because I was sitting right behind him. And then he started it up again, and then someone else yelled at him, and he either stopped or left. So, I don't know.
Wow.
I feel confident about how the audience handled this situation, and at the same time, it's like...
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear all that, though.
Yeah. It's, like, amazing how, like, one cis man can completely, like, taint a queer space like that. I just hate it. But it was very good.
It's happened for generations.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but yeah. How was your Halloween?
Good. I worked.
Oh, fun.
Typical Thursday night.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it was a volleyball game, so the team actually, it was a close game. All 3 sets.
Nice.
But they ended up losing all 3 sets.
Tragic.
But it was a lot of that, like, oh, one team's up, oh, now they're tied. One team's up, now they're tied. One team's up, now they're tied. So it's just like, ugh, when is this going to be over?
Yeah. Were you there in a public safety capacity, or... don't you work for public safety?
No.
Oh.
I do sports broadcasting.
Oh, okay.
So, camera work.
I don't know where I got the impression that you worked with public safety. Anyways.
I wouldn't be upset if I was.
Yeah.
I would love to be considered intimidating enough for public safety work.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm a very small person.
Okay. Well, should we...
We should definitely jump into it.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. So we're going to jump in our time machine and we're going to go back to the same place we were 2 episodes ago.
Murder!
1888.
Take me back to a murder. Okay. 1888. Yeah. Oh.
1888.
Oh, are you doing Jack the Ripper Part 2?
I am.
Yes! Okay.
Sorry, I have noodles in my mouth.
Ew.
I figured,
Yeah.
I don't want to drag this out for too long. So we had our Halloween episode. We didn't really plan very well.
Yeah.
We had our Halloween episode in the middle of the 2 parts. I apologize for that. I didn't plan well for
that's okay. I feel like I'm not planning well either. But anyways, go on.
Yeah, so to recap, we have 5 canonical victims: Marion Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly.
Cool.
All were found between the hours of 3 and 6 a.m., except for Mary Jane Kelly, who was found at around 10:45 in the morning. The usual MO included cutting open their abdomens and removing most, if not all, of their organs in that area.
Oh, no.
There were several other women who were thought to be victims of Jack the Ripper, but since they don't know who he is, it's hard to confirm if they were indeed part of the Ripper case or another closely related case by a possible torso killer. There were also other alleged victims who, quote-unquote, survived, claiming to have been attacked by Jack the Ripper.
Okay. Huh.
So that's the end of our recap.
Okay.
I don't know how much of that you remembered, but I hope our listeners remembered something.
Yeah.
And if not, there you go.
You can always go back to episode 2 to re-listen and give us another view on that episode.
Was it only episode 2?
Was it? Or...
Oh.
Wait.
Yeah.
Yeah? Is
it
this
was. We've recorded 4 episodes, technically, but that was episode 2.
Okay.
All right, so those were kind of the recap points, and we didn't go beyond the victims / like what he possibly looked like.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about the investigation today.
Nice. I'm excited.
Great. Okay. Are you excited for gross police incompetence?
No.
Well,
do they really have to do that?
You're in for a treat.
All right.
Great. The police were ridiculed for gross incompetence because they were unable to solve the case. They brought in, or they had on their list, more than 2,000 suspects.
Oh my God.
Over 300 people were interviewed and 80 people were detained.
Okay, so 300 out of their 2,000 suspects.
Yes. And only 80 of those people were actually detained.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, great.
Yes. So I say only 80, but 80 is actually quite a large number.
Yeah.
For how many victims he has canonically had. So
yeah, I guess also like back then, trying to track people down is probably a lot more difficult.
Right, and we'll kind of get into that.
Okay.
When I talk about the letters.
Gotcha.
So, officers from other districts that, from outside the districts where the crimes took place, were called in to help, as well as officers from the city of London, which, as I found out upon further research, is indeed an area within London, but has their own government, police, and mayor.
Okay.
I don't know what happened there, but they're pretty much based in, like, the greater London, which is like the rest of the districts.
Mm-hmm.
It's like their financial district, and that's like the city of London is where most of their financial district is.
Gotcha.
It's about 2 square miles, and so they want to be separate, but they're in London.
Huh.
They're an area called the City of London in London. So there's technically 2 Londons. It's very Europe. What are you doing?
Is that still a thing today, or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah, they have their own police. They have everything. Yeah, it's they're not part of Scotland Yard.
Huh. That's wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So the Queen herself, Queen Victoria, as well as many others, believed that the murderer was someone who worked with cattle.
Mm-hmm.
So like a butcher or someone that worked on the cattle boats that traveled between London and the rest of Europe.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, they would have the knowledge to disembowel someone, like how to do that, like neatly and quickly.
Oh, great. Yeah.
An investigation of the cattle boats at the London docks proved that the timing of the boats that would arrive on Thursdays or Fridays and depart on Sundays or Saturdays or Sundays, did not really line up with the patterns of the murders.
Mm-hmm.
And none of the crew transfers or single boats movements prove to, how did I write this sentence? Basically none of the crew transfers or single boats movements, could solidly prove, that they were related to the events. So the whole cattle boat theory was ruled out by the police.
Okay.
So criminal investigation.
Oh no, keep going.
Do you have a question? I will answer any questions.
Okay, wait. So they ruled out Jack the Ripper as a possible butcher, or
they ruled out someone who works on cattle boats.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Which would have been I think it's a solid theory, honestly, because if Jack the Ripper was only active, on the weekends, when deliveries were happening, that makes sense, right?
Yeah, it does make sense.
But none of the timings lined up.
Okay, gotcha.
So the police had to rule it out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
To further make things complicated, the Criminal Investigation Department head, Robert Anderson, was on leave in Switzerland during 3 of the murders and hindering the investigation's ability to move forward.
Great.
Yeah, so when he returned to London at the end of October 1888, which I believe is after the 5, it's after the first 3, I believe. Because there's one that took place in, sorry, let me pull this up again. I didn't write this down, but I want to make it clear.
You're good.
He came back at the end of October, and I think the one closest to that was the double event of Elizabeth Stride and Catherine Eddowes in September. Because then the one after that took place, Mary Jane Kelly, took place on the 9th of November. So he basically came back to London after everything had happened. He's like, oh, shit. I'm going to call Thomas Bond, a police surgeon, to examine the bodies and determine facts about the killer from their wounds.
Okay.
Now, Thomas Bond firmly believed that the killer did not have anatomical knowledge, contrary to what the police had basically figured out in the time that the department head had been gone. And Bond believed him to be manic, impulsive, and have hypersexual tendencies. Ew. But there's no indication of a sexual motive with any of the victims. So, really unclear.
Yeah.
Like we mentioned before, this case was widely sensational. Many letters were written to the police and the media, some claiming to be the killer, some providing advice to the police on how to solve the case, some criticizing how the police were unable to solve the case. Just overall, all of them were pretty much useless, and the three most prominent letters from people claiming to be Jack the Ripper have been named the Dear Boss letter, the Saucy Jackie postcard, and From Hell letter.
The From Hell letter?
Yeah, From Hell. Like,
Okay.
it's titled, or like, the return address, quote unquote, is From Hell.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, so the first two were postmarked right before the Catherine Eddowes and Elizabeth Stride double event, and the third was postmarked after the double event.
Gotcha.
The police examined the letters themselves and sent them into newspapers in hopes of someone coming forward with information or hoping someone recognized the handwriting. But nothing really came of any of their efforts.
Mm-hmm. Did they have fingerprinting back then, or?
Yes. Okay, so this is where I want to talk about the letters.
Okay, cool.
I'm not going to read them because, frankly, they're disgusting. Like, they're not, like, graphic or anything. It's just that someone could write this and taunt the police like this.
Yeah, and, like,
it's disgusting and disappointing.
Yeah, and to interfere with the investigation by lying is just, like, no.
Exactly.
Don't. That's, no. Yeah.
Yeah, so the one from Hell was actually delivered to someone named George Lusk, who was the chairman of the Whitechapel Vigilance Committee.
Okay, wait, so it was delivered from there or to there?
Delivered to.
Okay, gotcha.
So this is a volunteer committee, like basically volunteer police.
Okay.
The letter arrived with a preserved section of human kidney.
Oh.
Yep.
Where did he get that?
Well, he claimed to have eaten the other half.
Oh my god.
And I guess we're supposed to assume that it came from one of the victims.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of gross.
And was it like real human kidney or secretly animal or something?
I think it's been verified as human.
Oh my god. Okay. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So, this one was just written, came with a kidney. Great.
Great.
The Saucy Jackie one.
Okay.
So you asked earlier about fingerprints.
Yeah.
This one had, if you look up a picture of it, it's online, it's on Wikipedia, it's pretty easily, you can find it easily. Mm-hmm. On one side is the letter, it's a postcard. On one side is like the letter. On the other side is the address and fingerprints, bloody fingerprints.
Oh, yikes.
Or at least we assume it's bloody fingerprints.
Okay.
Could be ink. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm trying to go backwards on my computer. There we go. Yeah, so it just there's fingerprints on it, not confirmed as to if it's blood or not. We can't really know. There's no way to know.
Yeah.
I personally think it is, but I'm trying to be non-biased reporter.
Did they not have tests to determine even if it was blood versus ink, or?
You know, I don't know.
Or okay, yeah.
But as far as fingerprints go, because if you look at the postcard, it's very clearly like, it looks like like ink blots.
Yeah.
When it's like small, but if you like zoom in on it, it's very clearly like fingerprints.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And so around this time was when fingerprinting became a thing.
Got it.
Like the Victorian era was like Sherlock Holmes, all of that, right? Like detective novels
fiction.
were like all the rage.
Yeah.
And so fingerprinting up until this point hadn't really been a thing in like police work specifically. It was more like a private detective thing. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
But essentially, like, back then it was kind of the end all be all. If the fingerprint matches, they committed the crime.
Okay.
Something that we know today is that even though we all have unique fingerprints, a lot of them are super similar, and it's not super helpful anymore.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of times it doesn't conclusively solve a case, and I think in some cases, like, evidence of fingerprints have been thrown out. Because even though it gets you really close to who it could be, they're just not like super conclusive. They're not as conclusive as we originally thought they were.
Yeah. Also, like, I imagine that it's really hard to read fingerprints. Like, even if they are unique, it just seems like such microscopic details. Like, how would you even
Right. So,
analyze
like, even
that?
when people get like a partial print, right? Like, it's very much you have to examine it
Yeah,
super closely,
sure.
under every single possible microscope.
Yeah.
Um,
I don't think it's like CSI where they just take the print and then run it through a program and then it matches or doesn't match.
well, that's the thing. Like, we up until recently, actually, it's like a couple years ago. Like,
Uh-huh.
it's really been like if you run it through the database and it matches someone's fingerprint, it's probably them.
Mm-hmm.
But like, obviously, there's so much more you need to do to like corroborate that.
Yeah, exactly.
And with the DNA becoming with the discovery of DNA and like discovering what it could do for criminal investigations and stuff, like since the 90s specifically, that's when it really like blew up and became is the word admissible? I think it's admissible in court.
Yeah.
You can use it as actual evidence because before, like, we didn't really know much about it. But in like the OJ case and all of that, like that's when it really started to take off and become a major and like more regular part of criminal investigation.
Got it.
Cool. So the fingerprints on there, and then the final letter, which I'm kind of going backwards.
Okay.
The From Hell letter came after the double event, and both the Saucy Jackie letter and the Dear Boss letter, which I'm about to go over in a second, came before the double event.
Okay.
The Saucy Jackie letter came like right before. Yeah, so it came literally the day before.
Oh, wow.
It's postmarked and received on October 1st.
Okay.
And the double event had taken place. Sorry, I misread.
We're good.
Double event had taken place literally the morning before. So the morning of September 30th.
That is very creepy. So it's like, if the person had that much information about a crime that was literally just committed, then that's really fishy, right?
Yeah, so okay. I suspect that he meant to send it, like, earlier.
Yeah.
But it just, like, sat at the post office or something.
Yeah.
So, but, you know, there's obviously, like, it could have easily been he was just pulling their chain and actually meant to send it on October 1st.
Huh.
But it's just, there's no way to know.
Okay. Yeah.
The Dear Boss letter, though, did arrive before, on the 27th.
Okay.
And it was sent to the Central News Agency of London, not the police, but it was forwarded to the police 2 days later on the 29th of September.
Uh-huh.
So obviously they decided to run it in the newspaper and everything. So,
good.
Great.
Yeah.
The original was written in red ink and contains a lot of spelling and punctuation errors. Mm-hmm. Which is honestly, I don't feel it's uncommon for the time.
Yeah.
There's no standardized spelling. There's no standardized spelling.
Yeah. Also, not everyone gets to go to like public school, so.
Yeah. So the fact that Jack the Ripper assuming this is Jack the Ripper, could write, it would obviously mean it's a person of certain standing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to say about that.
Yeah.
But this is the longest letter. It's the most detailed, as far as, like, personality.
Uh-huh.
It's basically just explaining, like, quote, I love my work and want to start again. Because, again, this is right before the double event, but after the first two victims were found.
Okay.
So, if this is a real letter, he's giving them warning that he's about to strike again.
Right.
And he was written in red ink, but in his letter he says that he tried to save blood from his last victim.
Ew, no.
Which he called, quote, the proper red stuff.
Wait, he calls blood the proper red stuff?
Yes.
It's creepy as fuck. Oh my god.
Yeah, but the blood like congealed in the jar that he was keeping it in, so it's not like liquid anymore. It's more like a goo.
Ew.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he ended up just using red ink and said, "I hope this is fine." Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah.
I feel like if there was DNA testing and he had actually been able to use the blood, that would have definitely, the police would have definitely been on it and been like, all right, we're going to investigate this down to our last, like, scrap of faith, because if we scrape off ink from this page and it's actually blood, like, it's one of the victims' blood, like...
And that would be really helpful.
Super incriminating. We got him. We just have to figure out where this letter came from.
Yeah.
There's probably fingerprints all over this thing. Like, they didn't know. They didn't have any way to get it off.
Yeah.
As far as I know, there's like pictures of this letter online.
Okay.
And there's no like smudges, like fingerprint smudges, like the second letter.
Mm-hmm.
But it's written. They're all signs Jack the Ripper.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Creepy.
Except for, the first two, sorry, I just checked. The second, the first two are signed Jack the Ripper. The last one is signed Catch Me When You Can, Mr. Lusk.
Ew.
Who, if you can remember, he was the person that this was sent to.
Okay, yeah.
So, yeah, it's just, I feel like the first one is super crucial to the case.
Uh-huh.
If I received it out of the police, I would definitely think it's solid.
Mm-hmm.
It's like one of the more solid leads. The second one as well, even though it was sent after, I feel like me as a police person would be really just on those smudges on the card, like trying to figure out, is there a way we can get the fingerprints off? Is there a way, like, I mean, if you look at it, they're like smudged together. You can't really isolate a fingerprint from that.
Yeah.
At least at the time, especially, like, super primitive fingerprinting techniques. Yeah, I mean, I understand people's frustration with the, like, quote-unquote gross incompetence, but also, like, they had nothing to go on.
Yeah, and it seemed like, I don't know, there was a lot of distractions throughout the whole case, too.
Exactly.
That probably made it really hard to know what to focus on.
Exactly, and like me as a police person at the time would probably be like, there's probably a way we can test his fingerprints. We just don't know how. Like, we can isolate these fingerprints at some point. Like, especially looking back from the future, it's just kind of like DNA, especially. We could definitely lift something off of it if it wasn't like 100 years old. Mm-hmm. By the time we figure out what DNA is, like.
Yeah. I wonder, like, if it was blood on the letter and they, like, stored it correctly, would we be able to test it 100 years later, or would the DNA have broken down already?
I don't know. Because if you think about it, like, mummification kind of does the same thing. Like, I don't know enough about that to conclusively say that they can pull DNA from mummies. Uh-huh. But I feel like if it was a thing and, like, that actually worked, they'd be able to pull DNA from mummies. Yeah. So then if they preserved the postcard correctly, I feel like they'd be able to pull DNA from it, but that's just a theory. I really don't know. Yeah.
And also, like, how would they know how to preserve it if they didn't know what like,
exactly
needed? Yeah.
I mean, there's a whole bunch of things now that are being preserved. Like, there's a whole bunch of, like, sorry, this is tangent.
No,
there's a whole bunch of unsolved cases where they're, like, preserving evidence in such a way that, like, just in case we discover something later down the line that can help us solve it. Uh-huh. There's also cases where they try to do that, but then somebody destroys the evidence or, like, incorrectly stores it and then it gets messed up. It's a whole thing. Like, there's definitely cases from, like, the 70s and 80s in particular, like, with, like, hitchhikers and basically just kind of, I don't want to say, like, the peak of crime
Yeah.
in the United States, serial killing and stuff in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
Like, nobody like thought ahead to preserve evidence to be able to figure out who these people are. So there's cases from then that are unsolved, and it's just like, we could solve them now, probably, but the evidence has either been lost or destroyed, or someone like mislabeled them or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Or just like even going over crime scenes.
Yeah.
What did they miss? What have we missed?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anyways, yay for criminal technology innovations.
Yay. Do you think that we'll ever figure out who Jack the Ripper is at this point? Or was? God, I hope he's still alive. Somehow. Immortal.
I think the only way that I will be satisfied is building a time machine and going back myself.
Yeah.
Which I'm not capable of doing at this time.
I was gonna say I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. I wonder if there's like some ancestry DNA shit that could lead back. Well, probably not that far though. I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. Like, we don't know if this person had any family. Like, if they had any like, if they had any family. Honestly,
I mean, it like seems like their life was pretty structured, though. You know, like,
right?
They didn't kill during the week. They had like their weekends off to do all of the horrible things.
I'm also thinking, like, even if they didn't have immediate family, if they had, like, aunts or uncles that they didn't know about from, like, other areas of the UK or maybe, like, other parts of Europe, if we could somehow get, like, enough partial DNA to string together who he might have been.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then do you really want to, like, be the one who submitted your DNA to Ancestry.com only to find out that, like, a 30-second or, like, not even, it's probably way smaller than that. A 30-second of a 30-second of a 30-second is, like, partial enough DNA to match you to DNA evidence from a Jack the Ripper case.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things that we could do to, like, preserve evidence now so that maybe in the future with, like, the innovation of technology, we could maybe figure out who Jack the Ripper was, or just crimes that are currently going on now, like, that we don't know who did it. Maybe we could solve later on.
Yeah.
And that is like, the end of that's the end of mine. So. Okay.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, like, they caught the Golden State Killer after a lot of time. So I have hope, and also it's very scary, like, the kind of information that people have, but anyways. Okay.
Exactly.
Are you ready to get spooked?
Always.
Okay.
Spook me.
Cool. Well, so speaking of water troubles, this week, my story, I'm going to tell you about the Cecil Hotel.
Oh.
Have you...
This one gives me nightmares.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it too much?
Nope.
Okay. Okay, well, yeah, I guess you're kind of stuck anyways.
I'm stuck here.
Okay, well...
I've committed. I'm in it.
Sorry about it. Okay, well, we'll start out just with some facts, you know. So, the Cecil Hotel, now known as Stay on Main. I knew that it was a weird name like that. So, the Stay on Main Hotel. It was built in downtown LA in 1924 in beautiful Beaux-Arts style. So basically it's just like the lobby was so beautiful, like it had marble floors, like a really grand staircase, and just was really pretty.
I love staircases. I don't know what it is.
I know. I do too, except I can't use them, but I love to look at them because they're very pretty.
Well, yeah, I don't like using staircases.
Yeah.
They look nice.
They're nice. They're very nice. Yeah. My goal for accessibility would be like spiral ramps Like, I fucking love spiral ramps. Have you, like, seen
Spirals
those?
in general
Yeah, they're
are
pretty
just
cool.
very aesthetically,
Pleasing.
yes.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Okay. Well, so this aesthetically pleasing hotel, it was built to be a destination hotel for, like, international business people and social elites. But then, oops, here comes the Great Depression.
Boo.
Boo. Yeah, so as soon as the Great Depression hit, the area around the hotel became known as Skid Row, which is now a destination for everyone that capitalism has failed because of the Great Depression. So, like, a lot of homeless people, a lot of people who are addicted to drugs, a lot of sex work, etc. Not that sex work is not, but like dangerous, like a lot of danger for sex workers in that area. So I kind of struggled with researching for this because I wanted to break it up into like a true crime episode that maybe we could return to later and then just go over the hauntings right now. So my history is a little bit quick and dirty, but so without going too far into it, so that we can save time for the hauntings, here's like a little rundown on all of the great destination hotel things that have happened.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay, so in the 1930s alone, 6 people committed suicide in the hotel. RIP, really not good. Then in September of 1944, a 19-year-old Dorothy Jean Purcell gave birth to a baby that she didn't know that she was pregnant with. And she gave birth in the bathroom. And she thought
what?
Yeah. Yeah, so she didn't know that she was pregnant. She just felt like the worst pain in her life. And then
that still amazes me that you can not know that you're pregnant.
I know. Like, very poor sex education, I'm guessing, back then.
No, just like sometimes you don't know that you're pregnant.
Yeah.
Like your body doesn't do the thing.
Yeah.
It's actually quite common.
Yeah. It's actually kind of terrifying.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Purcell was terrified as well, because she thought that the baby was stillborn, and she was just, like, totally freaked out. She didn't want to wake up the guy that she was sleeping with, so she threw the baby out the window.
No!
I know, yeah, but then it turns out that the baby wasn't dead.
And it didn't die from getting thrown out the window either?
Oh no, it did. It did die. But
oh my god.
It was alive when she threw it out the window, but she didn't know.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. Sorry. I'm kind of like abruptly going into all of the horrible stuff.
No, it's okay. I should know by now that I'm just gonna be shocked. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So that is horrible. And the next morning, the police found the baby and tracked it to her window, and she was charged with, I think she was charged with murder, actually.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. And at the same time, I, like, feel really bad because she's, like, 19 years old, very young. She didn't know she was pregnant. She gave birth to a baby, and the guy that she was with was really scary. And I'm like, don't throw it out the window. And also, that would be a very scary situation. Especially if you think that the baby's dead already. But I don't, yeah. So that's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, another incident. In 1962, there was a 65-year-old man named George Gianni he was walking with his hands in his pockets. He was struck by a Pauline Auton who had jumped out of a 9th-story window to commit suicide. So she was committing suicide, and then she landed on this man, and they both died because she hit the guy.
Oh my god.
Yeah. And apparently she jumped because she had a fight with her estranged husband. And like
men.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And like this is like sort of a theme throughout a lot of the murders and suicides is that like it's all like the woman goes crazy and gets hysterical because of a man and stuff. And I'm just like, that's really putting it lightly, I feel like. Like, that's not, yeah. Yeah, so that happened, and that's not great. And then another big point in the history was that Richard Ramirez, otherwise known as the Night Stalker,
yes.
and Jack Unterweger, both well-known serial killers, they lived at the Cecil Hotel while they were active serial killers. Yeah. And
grab my blanket.
Okay. You okay?
It's right here. We're good. We're fine. We're here. We're fine.
Okay. If you need to take a break, we can.
Nope. We're here. We're fine.
Really, Cody?
I'm fine.
Okay. Just when you get too distressed, imagine that beautiful staircase.
Oh, yeah.
And,
okay. I'm at peace now. I'm fine.
Okay. Well, cool. Great.
Okay.
Okay. Well, so it doesn't get better. So Jack Unterweger, he was an Austrian serial killer. He took advantage of the fact that, like, the area around the Cecil Hotel was kind of like a red light district, and he started to murder the sex workers in the area. So, that's bad. Yeah, and then when Richard Ramirez was finally found out and convicted, what he said to the courtroom was, "Big deal. Death always went with the territory. See you in Disneyland."
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Is he okay?
I mean, he is obviously not okay, but
no, he's not.
Yeah, but yeah. Okay, so that is most of the history. The most recent tragedy to strike the Cecil Hotel, which is actually something that I would like to make into a separate story, was the case of Elisa Lamb.
Yes. Okay.
You know her, right?
Yes.
She was staying at the Cecil Hotel, and the elevator cameras caught her acting very strange. Like, there's thought that maybe she was having a psychotic episode or something, but or some people believe that was influenced by paranormal. But she ended up in the water tank of the hotel on the roof. She, like, somehow got into the water tank. And they didn't know until, like, days later, after guests were complaining of funny tasting water, that she had been decomposing in there. But yeah, so I feel like her story is very important, and I would like to, like, dedicate a whole episode to her, so I'm not gonna get too into it.
Yeah, you know what we can do?
What?
We talked about this a little bit before.
Yeah.
But not on the podcast. Where we can kind of team up.
Yeah.
And tell that story. So I can do the crime part, and then you can go ahead and talk about all the scary, spooky things.
Yeah, for sure.
Not that crime isn't spooky.
Yeah.
Paranormal.
I mean, yeah. They all kind of go hand in hand. Like, yeah.
Right.
The impact that violence has on the landscape.
Maybe that's the first episode we should do together?
Yeah. I would love to have a Cecil Hotel / Elisa Lamb, like, part 2. Because this is just kind of like a hodgepodge of information. There's so much about the Cecil Hotel. So maybe we can think about this as an introduction, and then we can go into it together later. Yeah?
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Alright, so now that we got all the grisly true crime stuff out of the way, sorry about that. I hope you're okay. I hope your blanket is comfy.
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm fine.
Okay, good. So, I kind of just have a long list of the hauntings that people have experienced.
Okay.
So, one thing that a lot of guests have experienced is that they hear babies crying.
Nope.
Yeah, and that's probably the spirit of the baby who was thrown out the window, I guess.
Okay, hold on.
What?
Speaking of crying and screaming.
Uh-huh.
I watched Texas Chainsaw Massacre last night.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Okay.
I turned it off.
Oh my god.
Because there's just so much screaming, and I couldn't. So I watched maybe like the first half hour of it.
Uh-huh.
Until the massacre started happening, and I was like, great. Screaming. Goodbye.
Yeah. I hate screaming.
So, anyways, carry on. I just wanted to give a little update on my horror movie crusade, because I also watched The Last Exorcism. Was not impressed.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I haven't seen The Last Exorcism yet, but I don't know if it's...
I understood what they were trying to do, but I don't know. It didn't... They didn't execute well.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Gotcha. I'll keep that in mind. Cool. Well, yes, there's a lot of crying and screaming that's heard in the Cecil Hotel.
Fantastic.
Yeah. There's also this, like, widespread kind of belief, which I would say isn't crazy at all, that the hotel is a trap for women, and that the hotel is cursed to lure women in and then kill them, or to make them kill themselves.
Oh, okay.
So that is yuck. But then, another probably as important side to the story is that mental health treatment back when most of the murders and suicide occurred was not the best for especially women, and they didn't have access to treatment for suicidal thoughts. Definitely not the national suicide hotline, which I'm just going to give you, is 1-800-273-6255. We now have that hotline, and that is great. So,
indeed.
Yeah. So, if you think that you're...
Sorry, I'm about to sneeze, I think, and I can't figure out what's going on. I'm trying... Yes. Suicide hotline, good. Sneezing, not as good.
Yeah. Sneezing, not
I don't think it's going to come. Continue on.
Okay. But yeah, so I'm just going to plug that number because this episode is pretty depressing and talking about a lot of women who committed suicide. As a feminine identifying person, I don't know. I don't like that. So I'm just glad to know that there is more access to treatment nowadays. And if you think that the place that you're staying in is cursing you, I mean, hey, you can both call the hotline and go get a priest or a rabbi. You can do both.
Yes, that is true.
Okay, so do both. That's great. Okay. So I don't know. It's just really vague like that there's some inherent evil to this building that just lures people in and kills them. And then there's also a ghost of a small boy seen in the fourth story window. And there was this piece of evidence. I forget if it was a video or a photo, but it came out in 2014, and it was like really creepy, totally kind of groundbreaking, and it was of this boy in the window of the hotel. So that's great. And then another apparition that people see is the bloody half-dressed night stalker. Because...
What?
Yeah. Well, okay. And let me explain. While the night stalker was staying at the Cecil Hotel and, like, murdering people. What he would do was he would go kill people, and then part of his MO was to strip off his bloody clothes and throw them in the Cecil Hotel trash, like trash cans outside, and then he would walk back through the lobby to his room in his underwear or completely naked. And
I
no
don't need
one
to see that. No, thank you.
And then no one would be fazed because the Cecil Hotel at this time was just kind of, it had a reputation for not being the type of location where you would have your clothes on at all times. I don't know. But
I just,
yeah. So just like
men who feel the need to take off their clothes and walk around without any clothes on, just
I know.
Bothers me to no end.
Yeah.
There's no need for that. No one asked you to do that. No one wants you to do that.
I mean, no, there's no request for murder either, though, so.
No, okay, yeah, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. It's just kind of like the cherry on top, sort of, like, you really gotta do that. Also, I just, like, find it disturbing that, like, everyone was so, like, greatly depressed in the Great Depression, and just, like, throughout this time in this part of LA that no one thought that was weird, I guess. And, like, there were no bystanders who felt able to, like, speak up about these things, and that's just scary for me. Yeah. And then so, another apparition that at least one person saw was a transparent figure standing on the ledge of a window about to jump, except that the balcony that they were standing on no longer existed.
Okay, so not only do we have a phantom person, we have a phantom balcony.
Yeah. Well, so I'm guessing that they can't see the balcony, the guy, or
so they're just floating in midair.
Yeah.
That's worse.
I know. Of fucking course. Oh shoot. And then some other people see the Black Dahlia, who I did not. Okay, Elizabeth Short, also known as the Black Dahlia. She was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as some people see her having a drink alone at the bar. And then as soon as people, like, notice her, their drinks, apparently for no reason, fall or spill. So, like, she'll just be there, and then if someone looks at her, their drink will just, like, fall over.
See, okay, sometimes my wrists spasm. And I knock things over.
Yeah.
So, does it happen when people aren't touching it? Because I feel like I knock things over all the time when I don't think I did.
Yeah.
But, like, all of a sudden things are just knocked over and I'm like, well, fuck. Like,
Yeah. I mean,
I'm one of those people that just, like, I believe in ghosts and the supernatural, but also, like...
Yeah, like, is that really probable?
I'm just, like, in my mind, I'm too scared to believe it. Like...
Yeah.
I just want to believe. I believe it happens. I believe they're out there. I feel like I'm so close to being sensitive to it, but I'm not. And it just gets to the point where, like, that probably could have been a ghost.
Yeah.
But also, I've never had any, like, conclusive experience or, like, solid experience enough to, like,
like, decide. Yeah, no.
I just feel like Mulder a lot of the times from X-Files.
I
like,
love
posters
Mulder.
all around. Just like, I want to believe.
Yeah.
But I've never gotten any, like, good evidence.
Yeah. I have a lot of thoughts about, like, what we consider evidence. Like, how it has to be, like, scientifically proven for it to be valid. Which, like, I get, but... Yeah, I don't know. It's a whole thing. Like, why can't other types of experiences also be valid? Even if it's not, like... Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, I wrote a paper on it once, so cool. Okay, yeah, so drinks, fall over either or both because of wrist spasms or because of Elizabeth Short. It could be both. I don't know.
Okay.
Okay. We are almost done though, so hang in there. Okay. So, people also report seeing shadow figures everywhere, especially in the basement.
No, thank you. Those are my least favorite.
Yeah. And then, sleep torture.
Nope, that's my new least favorite.
Yeah. Bed sheets will be tugged off of people. People will feel like they're being saddled by an invisible force. Guests will hear growling into their ears when they're sleeping.
No.
Okay, and this is probably the worst, so just bear yourself. But people have reported dreaming of a shadowy figure that they can still see for a few seconds after they wake up. Okay, we're just gonna power through. There's a spirit that hugs people while they're sleeping. And then...
No, thank you.
And then tickles
them.
No.
I specifically have a twin bed so that nobody else can share with me. And if I feel someone trying to hug me while I'm in bed, I know there's no one else there.
Yep. Yeah, so there's hugging people and then they tickle the people who are trying to sleep.
No.
I know, so bad. And then sometimes guests will enter the room and see somebody sleeping in their beds. But then they lift the blanket and the blanket collapses as if like there was like the form of a body under there, and then they like lift the blanket and then the blanket collapses like there's no body there. If that makes sense.
Okay.
Water being turned on and off to trick people. So like if people...
My sink.
Yeah. Like if you turn off the water and you go out of the bathroom, then a spirit will turn it on again and then just kind of like mess with you, I guess.
That's the thing. I'm like, okay, there's definitely a spirit in this building somewhere.
Yeah.
If not the basement, like we talked about in the special episode with Hollis, then maybe it's in my bathroom, and that's why the sink keeps leaking. Or I don't know.
Maybe.
Like, I want to, like, part of me wants to believe that there's a spirit that's fucking with us and is, like, fucking with our water stuff. Like, but the other part of me is like, oh, it's just like they changed out the O-ring, but it didn't work. Or, like, I just have to fix the chain on the toilet.
I mean, it could be both. It could be a combination of the factors.
If like the ghost fucked up the O-ring or the chain, like,
or if the chain is already weak, and then that is enough to be able to give the ghost the ability to easily manipulate it. I don't know. You could try like talking to a spirit and see what happens. Like, can you please stop doing this? I don't know. It might help. I've heard...
I feel like I have to get drunk to do that.
Yeah. I've heard good things about people politely asking spirits to don't do things, firmly but nicely. Being like, hey, stop hiding this object from me. I don't know. Versus being totally aggressive about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's Friday night. I'll give it a try.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll let you know.
And let me know how it goes. Yeah, and then we can talk about it next week. Okay, yep. Almost done. 3 more bullet points. People will also hear singing and humming in the shower when no one is in the shower. They will hear shrieking, in general shrieking. And then,
thank you.
And then the noises of people screaming as they jump off the roof. Okay.
So bad.
Yep.
Oh my god.
And that concludes the introduction of the Cecil Hotel. And it's over. It's all over.
I don't know if I want to keep telling this story.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to.
I mean, I feel like that is pretty much the Cecil Hotel. The next thing would be just specifically Elisa Lam. So we've done the Cecil Hotel now.
Okay.
We will not be revisiting the entirety of the Cecil Hotel. We will be returning to Elisa Lam.
Yes. Love that.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Well, I guess that's a wrap, folks.
Indeed.
Thanks for listening.
If you want to find us on the internet,
on the World Wide Web.
You can find us on Twitter at the Horror Corner Pod. You can find us on Patreon, on patreon.com/Horror Corner Podcast. You can find us on YouTube, where you should be listening to all of our episodes. We're still trying to get on iTunes. I'm being dumb about it and not getting on that.
That's okay.
At the Horror Corner Podcast on YouTube. And we are currently on Instagram, finally,
Yay!
At the Horror Corner Podcast.
And we have some pictures of my dog in Halloween attire.
Yeah, they're really cute. They're really good.
Yeah.
You can send in reviews in the comments down below on YouTube, or once we finally get on iTunes, leave us a 5 stars, whether you liked it or not.
Yeah.
Also, you can send in reviews, comments, pictures of your dog, listener stories to horrorcornerpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah. Also, it doesn't just have to be restricted to dogs. Cats.
No. Only dogs.
Donkeys.
Only dogs.
What? Really? Are you kidding
Only
me?
dogs, because I'll probably be the one checking the email.
Wait.
I don't want to see any of that noise.
Really? You don't want to see, like, a baby goat?
Okay, maybe baby goats.
Okay. Well.
Maybe that's the only other thing I'm interested in.
Wait. Why, though? I'm curious.
Because I really like dogs.
Okay, well, just because people are going to send in pictures of their goats and horses doesn't mean they're not going to send in dogs. Also, I want those photos.
The only way you're going to get my attention if you send any of those other things is that if there's a dog picture included.
Well, I will also check the Gmail then. You can send...
I'll make a specific folder for you.
You can send me pictures of your goats. I swear to God. Just, like, say, hi, Elle, and just leave out Cody entirely.
Just in the subject line, be, like, for Elle's eyes only.
God. Okay. Well, I guess that concludes our episode. Do you have anything else, Cody?
Nope, I don't believe I do.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks so much for listening. We will be back next Monday, assuming all goes well, / we're going to make it happen, / I'm going to make it happen.
November 11th.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it's... God,
I can't believe it's November.
It's almost Thanksgiving. I'm, like, excited to go home, but I also don't have a job yet, and that's just sad. Anyways.
Well, crossing our fingers for your interview.
Thank you. Yeah, I have a job interview on Monday. Everyone send good vibes my way.
Always.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay. My name is Elle.
I'm Cody.
And thank you so much for listening to our podcast, The Horror Corner. All right, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.